Hey everyone, my name is Connor Buckley, author of Coping with Anxiety and Depression, There is Hope, and this is the 34th episode of the Anxiety and Depression Vlogs. And today I want to talk about something that I talked about a couple videos ago, but go into depth on one specific aspect of that video. And a couple videos ago, on the 32nd episode, I believe, we talked about anxiety in the workplace. And I got another question that was frequently asked regarding that subject, and someone asked me, so the question I got asked was, what coping skills can you do when you don't have the option to retreat when you're on the clock or at work? And the biggest thing I would say to that would be, number one, whether or not you're prepared for the day, whether or not you do your morning routine, your evening routine, whether or not you know the different strategies and tips and tricks of how to deal with stress. It doesn't mean that you're going to have a stress-free day. It just means that you're going to be able to better handle what stresses the day throws at you, because every day there's going to be stresses no matter what, and it's just a part of life. And I think the first thing in order to coping with it is accepting that you are going to have stresses throughout the day no matter how much you prepare for it. And when you know that and you understand it, dealing with it becomes a lot easier, because now you can mentally prepare yourself before you start the day, knowing, hey, there are going to be stresses today, but what can I do? What's in my control that I can do right now to have a better outcome of less anxiety throughout the day, especially at work when I can't just up and leave a situation if I feel stressed. So how do we prepare for that, and how do we give ourselves the best chance possible to have the least anxiety throughout the workday? Well, what I've been doing is learning from a bunch of self-help gurus, you can say, and for instance, Tony Robbins, Tim Ferriss, Gary Vaynerchuk. There's a bunch of different people who talk about understanding yourself and being self-aware. And if you know that you're going to go into a stressful situation, for example, I work with people with developmental disabilities, and anyone watching this who works in that sort of field knows how stressful of a job it can get. And if you're not prepared for that day, you can have a very, very high stress, high anxiety type of day. And so the best way I like to combat those issues is by mentally preparing myself for the worst day possible. So what I do is basically, when I wake up, I have a very set morning routine. I prepare myself before I go to work, so that when I'm at work, I've already prepared my mind, my body, my spirituality, my emotional state. I've prepared everything I can so that I can go in and be the best coach possible during my work hours. So my morning routine looks something like this. If you guys haven't seen the morning routine video that I made, one of the very first 3 episodes that I made of the Anxiety and Depression Vlogs, you can check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can find it. But for those of you who haven't seen it, I do this morning routine that's very, very specific. I wake up very early, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I go through this routine every single morning before I start my day at work. And I'm not perfect, I'm human, I do miss it sometimes. I do get caught up with sleeping in, and I am running late and I forget to do the morning routine. But I can tell you this honestly, when I forget to do the morning routine and I forget to prime myself for the day, I have a way more anxious day. I have a lot more stresses that it's harder to handle the stresses that the day throws at me when I forget to do my morning routine. The morning routine looks something like, when I wake up, first you gotta hydrate yourself. You've gone 8 hours of sleeping without any water or liquids in your system, and everyone wakes up dehydrated. So getting water first, hydrating yourself, making sure that you give your body the oil that it needs to function right. So you hydrate first, and then I go into some sort of 5 to 10 minute meditation routine. I use the app Calm, which is a great app. You can check it out in the App Store. It's free, and they have guided meditations, they have timed meditations, and they have different meditations for stress, relaxation, sleep. It's a great app, and I highly recommend it. So I use the app Calm. I start to meditate just for 5 or 10 minutes. It's nothing major. It's just to get my mind right in the right state. And then I go into my 5-minute journal, which is writing down 3 things I'm grateful for, writing down 3 things I want to accomplish that day, and 1 affirmation that I repeat to myself at least 3 to 5 times. And it starts off with I am ... So whatever that I am phrase is for the day, like today, my I am phrase was, I am going to be a catalyst for people to come closer to God. I am going to be the person that leads people towards how to cope with anxiety and depression. I am strong. I am fearless. I am compassionate. I am a loving human being. I am wanted, and I am special. Those are all I ams that you can use as affirmations throughout the day that you say to yourself. And when you tell yourself something so much, whether it's good or bad, you are going to start to believe it. I don't care if you're the strongest person in the world mentally or emotionally, but if someone tells you you're not worth it and you hear that enough, regardless if you have the highest self-esteem ever, you will break down eventually and start to believe those lies. But the same thing goes with telling yourself the truth, that you are loved, you are valued, you are worthy. Those things, if you tell yourself that every single morning, imagine how much progression you could see in your life in a week, a month, 3 months, a year. When you tell yourself that every single day for a whole year, you become a new person at the end of the year, whether you like it or not. You are a new person with a new self-esteem and a new vision for how you see yourself. And that's what's so great about incantations, is you're not just saying it, but you're speaking something into existence. You're speaking what truly is inside your heart. And so you got the water, you got the meditation, you got the 5-minute journal, and then I just like to take the extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes that I have to complete a 15 to 30 minute cycle of morning routine. Just jumping up and down, getting my body ready, getting the blood pumping, and also doing some prayer and just reminding myself that I am not in control of my life, but God is the one in control, and I need to give it up to Him and trust Him throughout the day. Because when you believe in God, at least the way I believe in God is that I don't believe that when you have Him in your life, when you pray to God every day, it doesn't mean that He will give you a stress-free life. It means that He'll give you the strength to endure whatever the day is going to throw at you. Because this world is a messed up place, and there's always going to be stresses, like I said. But if you have the mental preparation to go in that day and say, I'm going to kick your ass and I'm going to win, then you will win the day. And having that mindset doesn't come naturally to any of us. You have to prime yourself, and priming yourself is part of doing that morning routine. So I do the morning routine every morning before I go to work, and that usually sets myself up for the day. Now, if you're someone at work where you can't leave and you're feeling stressed out, everyone has a 15-minute break. If you work 8 hours, 2 15-minute breaks and a lunch. Lunch usually takes 15 minutes to eat, 20 minutes to eat, and you still have an extra 10 minutes to go. What are you doing with those 10 minutes? What are you doing with that 15-minute break that you get? What are you doing with the 2 15-minute breaks that you get? That's 30 minutes plus a 30-minute lunch. That's an hour and a half of your time that you could be spending mentally preparing yourself and rejuvenating your mind to get back into the day, the work day, and kick today's ass. And so when I'm on my breaks, when I'm on my lunches, I don't use my phone. I turn off my brain. I go in my car somewhere where I won't be distracted from anyone, anybody at work, any member at work. I won't be distracted. I'm in my car. I don't turn on music. I don't look at my phone. I sit there and I enjoy the silence. And learning how to be comfortable in silence and with your own thoughts will change your life. It's changed mine, and I'm now able to see things from a new perspective because of it. And basically, the reason I do that is so I can clear my mind and I can be rejuvenated enough to at least get through the day, the rest of the work day. And that's the reason you have those breaks. Take full advantage of the breaks that you are getting. Most people sit in the break room, they talk with their friends, their coworkers, they go on social media, and then what do you know? Time flies by and they only have a minute left before they have to get back out on the floor and deal with the same stress that they had to deal with before they went on their break. So it's like the break never really existed or happened for them because they weren't using their break properly. So when you're using your break properly, you will notice a much, how do I say this? You will notice such a big difference in how refreshed you feel if you give your break 100% of your effort to powering down your mind and relaxing and taking those 15 minutes, those precious 15 minutes, and working on yourself during that time so that you can come back and be the best X, Y, and Z that you can be. Be the best coach that you can be the best coworker that you can be the best friend that you can be the best boss that you can be. You can be the best at anything of what you do if you prepare your mind correctly for it. And let's say you've used all your breaks and you're still going through some stresses that the day throws at you. One tip that I learned that is very, very simple and it seems extremely silly, but it's so effective is something called finger tapping. I've talked a lot about this because I truly see the value in it. And what it is basically tapping your index finger and your thumb together, one hand at a time on opposite hands, and you go at a slow, steady rhythm. And what that does is on your right hand and then your left hand, it activates your right and left hemispheres of your brain, which internally rewires your thought patterns to be controlled at a much slower pace. And what that'll do is it'll slow your thoughts down, it'll slow your mind down and get you to realize, hey, okay, I'm stressed out, but the reality of it is I'm stressing myself out. And you're able to see the irrationality that you're thinking when you're stressed out, when you calm your mind down and you just start finger tapping. And then you can breathe with it and match your breath with the taps of your left hand and your right hand. And when you do that, you start to slow down the mind and you see a big difference. And you can do that anywhere. It's so discreet that no one is ever going to notice, and you can do it for however short or long you want. And it will really calm down your mind and help those thoughts that are going 100 miles an hour in your mind racing and racing. So those are just a couple of the things that I want to encourage you guys to do if you're someone who gets really stressed out in the workplace and you can't simply just leave work. Prepare yourself for the day before you even get into the day. Make sure that you use your breaks wisely and make sure that you do things that keep your mind calm, which is breathing, finger tapping, meditating, doing all those things to calm your mind down when your mind is racing 100 miles an hour are all things you can do and practice in your daily life every day. So I hope this video helps you guys, especially my coworkers who happen to be watching this. If you are, we have a high stress job and there's no getting around it. And if you want to be the best coach you can be, we have to prepare ourselves to be the best coach. We have to prime our brains to be the best coach possible. And it's only going to happen if we take control of it. No one's going to do it for us. And we're adults, and you got to do what is right for your mind, your emotional health, your physical health, your mental health. You have to take control of your life and take control of your day at that, and make sure that you're giving yourself and your members the best opportunity possible to provide them with as much value as possible. And you can only do that if you take care of yourself first. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching.